Hey everybody, appreciate you tuning in. If you came here from Instagram, that's awesome. I'm glad to have you here. For everybody else that doesn't know or that doesn't follow me on Instagram, I recently made a post asking if people would be interested in knowing how I grew my farming operation, how I got it started, and how I own the ground that I do. So I felt this would be a great part one. This is going to be a series. I was trying to think of the best way to do it. And it's all free. I didn't want to charge people for this because this is something I do really believe in. So I'll give you a little rundown on who I am, why you can listen to what I'm saying, why I know it works, the different processes. And so for starters, my name is Logan Hanks. If you're here, you're watching on the LH Farms YouTube channel. I own LH Farms. That is my operation. Started it in 2015, and that was really what kick-started my journey here. I grew up in farming. My family's farmed forever. Now don't stop the video there, because I know somebody's probably watching and they're like, oh, that's how he got into it. His family was in it, yada, yada, yada. Okay. Yes, that did help. That helps. I'm not going to sit here and say that doesn't make a difference, because it does help. But that's where this story kind of changes. I went a different route than a lot of guys do that come back to their family farm. I went and became a machinist. I had to spread my wings, grew up on the farm, but I just needed to do my own thing. So went and worked in Memphis. I'm in West Tennessee. I guess I should also add that. I am right outside of Memphis, Tennessee, and I went and worked in Memphis to be a machinist. Decent job, made a decent living, but I always wanted to get back to the farm. Realized pretty quickly that's where my heart was. So that was my goal, was to get back to farming. My dad was farming at the time, he still is, but was farming, and I told him I wanted to come back and work for him. At the time, we didn't have enough acres to pay me. I was making a decent salary as a machinist at that point, and we just couldn't afford it. Well, I got married, and my wife, she's got a good job, so it kind of freed me up a little bit. She covered our insurance. There's quite a few things that we need to consider, like if we're getting into this, if you're looking to go this route. Insurance is not, you don't get benefits as a farmer, so remember that. So anyways, my wife, she carried our insurance, and I said, you know what, there's no better time than now. I got to looking, I said, you ought to buy a farm. Well, just so happened there was a program, and it's one of the ones that I'm going to talk about in this series. I'm going to do multiple videos, and one of them, they're going to revolve around different ways to buy the land. So one of those is the FSA Young Farmers Loan. And that's what I did. Went through the process of getting that, found a farm, bought a farm. That was in 2015. I bought my first farm. It was 81 acres. Left my job as a machinist, went and started working for my dad, took a tremendous pay cut. You know, it's funny, anytime you do something like this, people are gonna, doubt you or have something to say. I've heard it all, especially coming from a family that farms. I've heard that people say they know how I got started in farming, and that's because of daddy's money or what my dad did. Malarkey, complete malarkey. I've never gotten money from my dad for my farming operation. I don't ever enjoy borrowing money from anyone. Now, as a farmer, you do live in debt. That pretty much is how it goes, because you're planning, you're paying for your inputs, all these things. That's a whole nother episode. But needless to say, none of my father's money, none of anybody's money but my own went into this operation. I should say mine and my wife's, because we are a joint operation, whatever you want to call it. So got the Young Farmers Loan, bought that, went back to work. And I want to be very open with you guys. So I'm going to go into some financial details here. When I was a machinist, I'll be honest with you, I was making in the ballpark of $50,000 a year. For some people, that's not a lot. For me, that was pretty good living. When I went back to farming, I went from making $50,000 a year to about $25,000 a year, if that. My 81 acres, I kind of used that to supplement my income. Now, on 81 acres, I was sharing my dad's equipment at this time. If I had not been doing that, I would have had to buy equipment. And these are all other things I'm going to cover in the series on how you can do it. But I was only clearing, a very minimal profit on 81 acres because I was paying the note on it, yada, yada, yada. Paid my dad and them to work theirs. Or paid my dad and them to use their stuff. So that wasn't like tremendously adding to my income. And for those of you that know much about row cropping, 81 acres doesn't produce a huge income. So I knew I had to do more. So I continued the prowl of trying to buy more land, and I did. And fast forward to now, it's 2022, and I own right around 500 acres. Now, I'm 31 years old. That's what always kind of shocks people when they find out that a 31-year-old owns around 500 acres. And the other part of that is that I would say anybody can do it. Yeah. Now, this is not one of those deals where I'm going to tell you how to go into farming debt-free, or you can, this ain't a Dave Ramsey plan or farming without the bank kind of deal. It's not the style that I did. I'm telling you how I did it. So debt is required. If you want to do it the way that I did, you're going to take a loan out. The trick of the trade here, or not the trick, but the way that the advantage to these loans I'm going to talk about is you don't have to put any money down. Because again, at my age, especially back in 2015, newly married, 25 years old, whatever, maybe that's right, I don't remember. You do the math. But back in 2015, I didn't have the money to put down. If I bought a farm for $300,000, I didn't have 20% to put as a down payment. That's one of the advantages to doing these young farmer loans. So for you guys who wondered, like now, 2022, I'm farming around 1,200 acres, completely independent. I'll help my dad. He'll kind of help me if we need to, but I no longer work for him. I work for myself. I always wanted to be my own boss. And I think that that's been one of the cool parts to farming is you get to farming is really fascinating because you get to be your own boss and you can experiment. There's a ton of ways. Like, one thing I'll tell you and I'll reiterate in this series is there's 1,000 ways to skin a cat. Or the common saying is there's always more than one way to skin a cat. And that is the same with farming. There's cover crops. There's no-till, there's minimal tillage. There's some guys that think they want to put a blade in the ground every single time. The glory in farming is it's kind of up to you to decide what style you practice. Those are all series that we're going to go into in this series. Those are all episodes because this is going to be kind of the complete farmer series. But we're starting out with how in the crap do you get land? How do you buy land? And I'm telling you how I did that. So, guys, I am Logan Hanks. I appreciate you tuning in. Like I said, small farmer still in my area, working around 1,200 acres. I've been married since 2015. I have 4-year-old twins, Christian, and I love being a farmer. And I'm really stoked that you tune into the video. I hope that this kind of gives you a little background on what to expect, what you can kind of learn in this, and I'm looking forward to getting into it. Oh, also, please hit the like and hit the subscribe button and hit the little notification somewhere down there. I'm not going to point to it. It'd be one of these sides, I guess. I am pointing. As I say, I'm not going to point. But hit the notification, because as the next part of the series comes out, you want to watch it, because we're going to go into all these loans. We're going to go into renting ground. We're going to even go into trying to decide, maybe how much you should pay an acre on ground, what you can expect, profit, loss, that kind of thing, equipment you'll need. It's going to be the whole 9 yards for somebody that is interested. I will say this is going to be row crop particular. I have a few cows of my own, but not enough to really call myself a cattle operation. But I am a row crop operation, and that is what I will be talking about. Thanks, guys.